On his debut, Jarno Uppbeat wins at Spa.
It's Martinez in Montreal. David beats Goliath.
It's a true underdog story. John Evans wins at Mexico.
And it's Super Sam Corby who takes the PlayStation Championship.
FRA Ronhard takes his first WOR Championship. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jake Benham is a two-time WOR champion.
Stop it! Around the outside operated line shadow is contact again. Ronhard is around.
Melanie, surely is going to win here at Abu Dhabi. He does.
15 races across 5 continents. From Brazil to Belgium and Bahrain to Britain. Soon this story starts. Across 3 platforms, hundreds will begin the quest in search of glory and the right to be called a WOR champion. Lights out, and we're racing in Season 12.
Hello everybody and welcome along to WOR World Online Racing League Season 12. This is round number 5 for PC Tier 2 and we're in the final round before our first break week. We head to Zandvoort for the first time in a while for the Dutch Grand Prix, and we've had multiple race winners so far here. We even had a home Grand Prix winner here at Zandvoort, but will we see a repeat of that today in PC Tier 2? We'll have to wait and see. My name is Jess Ball, one of your commentators for this evening. I'm normally joined by Luke Etheridge, but he's not here tonight. He is covering for Dan Field in Tier 1 tonight. But I have great company tonight. He is usually in the commentary box for the Xbox side, filling in for a few tiers there. But he's joining me on the PC side for the first time. Is, of course, Josh Davis. Josh, how you doing?
Hello Jess, really looking forward to tonight actually. First time commentating over PC here in WR, absolutely cannot wait to get stuck in. A lot of very talented drivers out here, some that I do recognise when they have been on the Xbox side of things, but a very amazing grid we have tonight, and I cannot wait to get started. Obviously we're here in Holland, a very tricky circuit for a lot of drivers, very tight corners which can throw you off if you let it, but an absolutely fantastic race we have in store for you. Last time we'll be here until our first break week, so yeah, can't wait to get started.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. We saw the 2 McLarens get a 1-2 last week in Austria. We saw Morgan Ball take second, and it was Drake Dempsey who made it a 4th winner from 4 races this season, which was great to see. And he's currently leading the championship on 56 points. Lenny Papinta joint with Morgan Ball in 2nd and 3rd on 49, and we got JC in 4th on 44. Chandler, who's not here tonight, on 36. Jack Laverty, who's now a reserve, on 26. Jonah Martins on 20. Leroy Brown on 15. Simon Viter on 14. Paul Eckermeyer on 11. Mark in 11th on 10. David in 12th on 8 points. And then we got Taz, Hazzy, Fritzen, Leonard, Kevin, Jack, Jay, and Days Rombus rounding up your championship so far, with 4 drivers yet to score thus far. So without further ado, we are going to get started with qualifying as I get my settings up quickly. Just give me a second. There we go. We have got the settings up for you. So we've got 7 times on the board so far, and a good time so far for one of our reserve drivers who's fitting in for one of the Red Bulls, Camille Statuer, 109.9 on the sauce. We've seen the guys in Tier 1, if you're watching that, do 109.4s, 109.3s and 109.2s. So that is really a good benchmark time off the bat to start with qualifying as well. Quite a few more reserve drivers tonight that are doing quite well. In the times, Carson Webber, who is also one of our reserves. He is filling in for Mark 313. Camille's filling in for Jack. Jane Tripkov is filling in for Chandler. And we've got Peso filling in for Achi. And we've got Matteo Longe filling in for Dazed Rhombus. So great to see lap times in the 109s already, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant times we're seeing so far. 2 drivers in the 109s and make that 3 with Simon Vitar. I think that's pronounced with a 9.692. Brilliant lap there from the Haas driver. Camille Statua in P2, looking very, very sharp. She's about 3/10 slower, less than 3/10 slower actually, than we had there with Carson Webber in P3 with that 9.86. He's just come around the final corner now. I think he's going to pull in towards the pit lane. Matthias Longe only 16 thousandths off the 109, so there's already brilliant bankers being shown there, and obviously Leroy Brown with that 10.1 on the mediums, exactly the same time as Drake Dempsey as well on the mediums, so very, very interesting lap times there from the 2. Peso also out there in the Haas with that 10.174, as a lot of other drivers out. Jonah Martin's also out there for the Aston Martin, sorry. Also, you've got Paul Eschemar just waiting to come into the pit lane. Morgan Ball also out there as well for the McLaren team, as I believe they did get that 1-2 last time out. So he comes towards the final couple of corners now in the McLaren car, and rounding the final corner, very, very long banker, which is easy to get wrong. DRS wide open for the McLaren. Across the line he comes to do a 109.834, sorry, which puts him into P2 and on the front row.
Yep, he's doing very well at the moment. Very close between P1 and P2. This track saw Max Verstappen win his home Grand Prix last year, and it was the first time actually that Zandvoort actually visited in Formula 1. It was going to be visited in 2020, but due to the COVID pandemic, unfortunately we couldn't visit it, but it was a great race in real life, and there was orange fans cheering him on as well, and I'm sure we're going to see something similar quite here as well. And one other thing to mention as well, Marcus Towler, who's in the AlphaTauri, he is not a reserve driver anymore, he's a full-time driver, as one of the full-time drivers has stepped down. So Marcus Towler, who was first on the reserve list, he's been promoted to full-time driver, which is great to see. He's currently sitting in P15 at the moment. Leroy Brown was quite unlucky the last couple of races. He was in Tier 2, was quite unlucky with his DNFs, but surely this is the race where he can turn it around a little bit as well, because he saw the likes of obviously Jack Laverty, Morgan Ball, Drake Dempsey up there as well, and Lenny Papinta being involved in that freeway battle last week in the midfield, and surely he wanted to be up there as well, but he just got quite unlucky. But he's sitting in P7 right now. Everyone is now moved onto the softs, apart from Hazib, who's currently sitting in P16. Anyone else about to cross the line? We got Ferrari, who's about to start his flying lap, I believe. And we got the 2 Aston Martins just about to go through sector 2. So what is key of getting a good lap around Zandvoort? Because I'm sure you've done a lot of races around it, and this is a track where it's very, very hard to overtake, isn't it?
Definitely. So probably the main overtaking areas is down in towards turn 1 is a little bit of a banking, and then you've got turn 4 as well, the long banking, which is very, very easy. You saw Fernando Alonso making some absolutely incredible dive bombs there in real life around the outside. There's 2 different lines you can take there. You can take a down right line, and you can take the outside line, both equally quicker. I think maybe the outside just a little bit quicker, as you can put the throttle on ever so slightly earlier than on the inside line, but there's definitely a lot of little tricks you can do here, as Jonah Martins actually goes into P3 with that 9.883. Leroy Brown, pole position with a 6.74. Gover crowns. We had a brilliant lap time there from the Alfa Romeo to get pole position with 11 minutes and 50 seconds to go. I think that's Dowrick as well in the Ferrari, about to cross the line as he goes in towards P3 with that 9.84. Brilliant lap time there for the Ferrari, and it's looking pretty good for the Ferrari engines. 1, 2, 3 so far.
Yep, it is as well. The Ferrari drivers need a bit more luck in terms of the Constructors' Championship, and at the moment they're doing quite well with that. And obviously Vita as well got involved with that battle. He was involved in some cracking battles actually with the likes of his Haas teammate and the 2 McLarens. It was actually clipped on Luke's Twitter if you want to check that out after the stream. And Lenny Papinta, who got pole 1 time this season already, has now set provisional benchmark at the moment with a 109.5, so we're getting close to the 194s. Almost there, as Drake Dempsey now crossed the line in P2. Next across the line will be the Ferrari. I believe that will be Carson Webber, one of our reserves tonight. He doesn't improve in position. He stays in P12. There is a yellow flag set to 3 though, so there's probably people just having a bit of off, people moving out the way at the moment. We've got 2 of the Red Bulls about to come across the line. Actually, no, it's Camille actually about to start his outlap. There's not many people improving on their runs to start with. I think the only people that are improving are the likes of Lenny, Drake and Leroy. But if you don't qualify, I would say, in the top 5 or 6 or something, then you're going to struggle to really overtake in the race, except obviously if it's changeable conditions, which can change in terms of strategy. So it is important to get your pit stops right, because that is where pretty much the main overtaking spots are going to happen tonight, is through pit stop strategy and maybe undercuts and overcuts. If you get that wrong, there's people that are going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, definitely so. Around here, Zandvoort, the strategy is absolutely key, as you just said. It's definitely not very friendly on the overtaking front, so you've got to be careful with where you put your car if you want to make an overtake, but definitely the strategy is going to play a lot of part in this, and I'm sure that all the guys are definitely knowing of that. As Carson Webber, I think, about to cross the line, I don't think he can improve either. Stays in P12, that 9986. So cannot improve there on the front for the reserve driver. Morgan Ball also out there, almost a 10th and a half up as he comes towards the final corner in sector 3. The McLaren driver was up on the front row for a couple of moments. Can he dethrone the top front row? No, he can't. Puts it in P4 with that 6.90, an incredible lap. Nevertheless, still puts it in the second row, so definitely has a good chance in towards sector 1 if something fantastic happens, as Dorwick actually has a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. Not sure where that has happened, but not what he wants to see fairly early in this qualifying session.
No, I think there's a few more people on outlaps. I'm just looking at the traffic right now, and I think it's through towards obviously turn 3 and 4 as well, the bank in there as well, where he probably blocked there. So he's gonna, even potentially he's gonna qualify P6 or P7. He's gonna drop down to outside the top 10, and even with that, if you qualify high up but you have to start low down, you have to start on the tyres you qualified on anyway, regardless of if you have a 5-place grid drop. So this is not ideal for these guys, but surely they can recover. I think we saw something similar last week with Leonard, but Leonard was outside the top 10 anyway, so he was able to start on free tyre choice. Leroy Brown then is just about to start his lap. Let's go on board actually with a lap around this circuit, which was first hosted a Formula 1 race where the fact Niki Lauda actually won a race back in the day. And I have to say, it was a very, very good race win from him. And I think Austria had a corner named after them. Unfortunately, not this one, of course. But you're just heading towards turn 7. Make sure you get on the traction nice and early. And then you're going to be heading towards turn 7, 8 and 9. And get on the attack for the early apex. And then you're going to open the DRS to minimise traction. Your next braking point here is before the curb starts on the left-hand side. Really aggressive here, going into the right, drift out and then into second gear. And then you're going to be heading the 150-metre ball going into fourth gear. And power early on tight to the right-hand side as you possibly can to the banking. Hopefully the guy in front of him moves out of the way. He's nowhere near Leroy Brown's way, so he comes across the line. Shortest one to the line does Leroy Brown, and 109.5. That is a decent lap for him. Puts him in P2 on the board. It's starting to get quite dark out there at the moment. Not as sunny as it was at the beginning of the qualifying session. So Leroy Brown could be a threat to get in pole position. We do have a Alpine, I believe, crossing the line. Nope, it's not an Alpine car. It is a Williams car. It's hard to tell. It might be Matteo, actually. It is Matteo Longue up to the line. His first race in WOR. Let's see what he could do to impress us. P4, not too shabby indeed. Only a 10th off the top 3 at the moment. So Matteo, another driver that could be in sharp pole position. Same with the two McLaren boys. Pretty much everyone in the top 10 could be in chance of getting pole position. It's that close.
Absolutely, as you can just see Leroy Bryan and Weata closing in by about a hundredth of a second between the two, as Lenny Pipinta, riding on board now in the Mercedes, was not up in sector 2, so hopefully he can try and find something in sector 3 to try and get himself on the front row, maybe even better on pole position as he rounds the long banking. I don't think he's going to be on a lap, and no he doesn't. He decides to pull in towards the pit lane, and it is raining.
I said it was getting dark, wasn't it, Josh? And the rain is quite threatening at the moment, so this potentially could be the last lap. And I'm just swinging on board with Drake at the moment. He's 10 100s quicker, well, 1/100th quicker at the moment, even with this rain. So I don't think it's coming down hard enough, but this could potentially be everyone's fastest laps to gone. So this is an anti-climax to the qualifying session. This is the first time we're actually seeing this in Tier 2 this season. We saw this last season quite a bit, actually. So we'll see what Drake can do as he heads to pass the DRS zone as well, clips that curb quite nice. He stays in 4th gear as well. Quite a few people are retiring. So we could see a Haas car of Vita once again in pole position. Oh, Drake is showing that the conditions are very, very hard indeed. So he's not going to improve at all. Matteo Longa retires from the session. You can see on the track map that people are struggling. Jay will go in into the pits. It's just not worth it at the moment unless it's going to rain in a race. You may want to get some intermediate practice. I can see Camille is already 10 seconds down on his previous best at the moment. So yeah, the traction is becoming even worse right now. So unless someone could provide a miracle, it will be a Haas on pole position. A shame we couldn't get anyone in the 109.3s, but you know, that's what happens in qualifying sometimes, doesn't it, Josh?
Yeah, definitely so, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see any more times, as the track is probably a little bit too wet for some running in the dry. Jonah Martins, as we were talking about actually earlier, could not go any quicker. He actually binned it in Sector 2 where Leroy Brown is right now. So unfortunate for him, he will start in 11th. You like to say the back marker's pole position, if you like. He will get that free choice of tyres alongside Leonard, who's only about 7 thousandths slower than the Aston Martin. The 2 WR drivers sharing that row. Shazoo Camille Statua in P13 alongside a lot of other drivers in WR. Carson Weber, Jay Virage as well alongside Fritzen and Shazoo. Yanni Tripkov did not get a lap time in time. Neither did Fritzen, at least a competitive one, as I think a lot of people now will be pulling in towards the pit lane. Everyone in the pits now, not really worth it to try and set a lap time now unless they just want to get some wet weather running in. But I think that will probably bring an end to qualifying, and it is Wieta on pole position by 1/100th of a second.
That is quite close between himself and Leroy Brown, as well as Lenny Papinta as well. I think those three have been the heavy hitters of qualifying so far this season. But there has been a few that has been quite close as well. Don't forget Morgan Ball won the race in Belgium at the beginning of this season, which I was the only person to see that because my game decided to crash, unfortunately. Or was it... no, actually, it wasn't my game that decided to crash. It was the stream that accidentally decided to die. Someone actually ended the stream early for me. I don't know why. But anyway, we're seeing Marcus Towler coming across side again, migrating host for some weird reason, which is not ideal. So we'll find out what is happening there in just a moment. As I think, I don't know, he's going quite faster than I expected. So he's probably was one of the ones who joined quite late. But we'll see what he is in Sector 2. As actually quite a lot of people have left the session, so I wonder if we are having a lobby restart. I will have to check Discord for the time being whilst we do that. But it will take a while. But we'll see Marcus Tau as he heads through Sector 2. I do have a mention, so I do believe we will... Yeah, we are having a lobby restart then. So that is your order for qualifying. And then we will go straight into the new lobby then. So Vita on pole position. Leroy Brown in second. Lenny Papinta in third. Matteo Longate in fourth. Drake Dempsey in fifth. Morgan Ball in sixth. David in seventh. Passo 8th. JC ninth. And Paul Kamaya rounds up your top 10 as it wouldn't let me get the orders in time, unfortunately, which was a bit of a shame. But there we go. It happens. So quite an interesting qualifying session. A few drivers out of position and... Vita, who's usually good at qualifying, is showing that he's made of the right stuff today. And I wonder if I can hear Discord at the moment. I think I can, but as I am going to try and get back into the lobby. Or hopefully it's not my internet, but I think we should be good. We are good. So as soon as we get an invite, we'll obviously let you know as well. Driver, I have to say that's out of position here, I think, for this qualifying. I have to say Jonah Martins is quite down there as well. And I have to say, obviously Leroy Brown was quite up there as well. He almost got pole position there as well. A few people up position than we would be expecting. The likes of obviously Fritzen didn't get a time in. So he's only on 2 points at the moment in terms of his performance in the championship so far. So he's not doing very well on that regard. I've just got an invite as well. Josh, can you hear me again?
Yes, right, I am now back, so apologies for that. My headset decided to die for 1 second, but I'm now back, so everything's all good. I think we have a lobby restart. I think the lobby died as well, so have a freshen up of the fields. So everyone will practically start on fresh tyres, but obviously the top 10 will need to start on the tyres they qualified on, but they will have fresh tyres, so that's not a bad thing, but definitely halts proceedings.
Yeah, it does as well, but it gives a chance to talk about certain drivers as well with what they thought of the session as well. Nice to see one of our new reserve drivers, Matteo, doing quite well in 4th position as well. You really want to impress on your debut. The last person who impressed on their debut into the PC tier in WOR was Drake Dempsey. He actually won on his debut in Abu Dhabi as well. It didn't look like he was going to win on debut, but he did. So Matteo looks like he didn't win a good shot as well. Camille as well. He was looking good at the start of qualifying, but he was just stuck in traffic in the final few runs, and he probably was not expecting for the rain to potentially come when it did. So he was getting a bit worried at times as well. And obviously Jay, one of our other reserves, he couldn't get a lap time in either as well. So what do the drivers who are out of position or couldn't get a lap time in need to do to pretty much refresh? Because they get fresh tyres anyway. They're not going to have the advantage like the top people outside the top 10 usually do, because they'll be on fresh tyres with a new lobby. They just got to be on their A game pretty much from the get-go, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the aim of the game really in here, and definitely in league racing in general. So you really have to be on it, especially if you are out of position at a track like Holland. You got to have a very attacking mindset right from the get-go if you want to try and file up the grid as much as you can. As you can see, a lot of drivers out there, I think definitely Jonah Martins would probably say he was a little bit out of position in that P11, but he has the free choice of tyres. He can try the mediums or the softs wherever he likes. I think the strategy we're probably looking at is about a soft medium, fairly easy around Holland, unless I am absolutely talking not a lot of waffle, but maybe soft medium, soft hard. I think I've seen him in the past, but I think definitely the soft medium is probably on for a lot of these guys, but maybe then we'll know something we don't, a little bit of tricks, and I'm sure the bottom 11 will definitely know that if they have been practicing, if they are in the bottom 11, but it's definitely going to be an interesting one to look at, and I think we'll be ready to go in a moment's time.
Yeah, because we do have everyone in the lobby, so thank you to all the tier 2 drivers for getting there nice and promptly. So it will be up to the tier coordinator then to get the grid editor sorted, and it looks like everybody is, I think the host is not readied up yet, so that's a bit worrying, but there's more people readying up than expected. Yes, the timer is coming, so we are about to get going for pretty much Zandvoort, the Dutch Grand Prix, like I said, the final round before we head to our break week as well. So whilst we wait for that, we will talk to you about the track in just a moment, but it was first opened in 1948, part of the wave of post-war motorsport as well. It hosted quite a few GT races as well, so quite brilliant stuff indeed as well. So let's have a little bit of a look then at this track then. It was 35 years ago that Niki Lauda took his 25th and final Grand Prix victory here at Zandvoort, and he came from 10th on the grid to beat his McLaren teammate Alain Prost by just 0.2 of a second. And we also saw a familiar face at Zander, also known as Ballina back in the day, took an impressive victory in front of its own crowd and Zandvoort, and the Dutch fans were very, very impressed with it. It was some orange t-shirts for sure there. This track has 14 corners with 4 to the left and 10 to the right, and it has 2 DRS zones, one at the start finish straight going towards turn 1 and one at the end of sector 2 before the tight right-hander of turns 10 and 11. So we're seeing past winners. We saw Jake Benham win last season as well as Zander, and here we go, we're seeing actually Zander go for some moves heading towards turn 7. He's trying to go side by side with his nearest rival there, and usually can't make a move there. but Sander is proving us wrong there in the Alfa Romeo, and surely the tricks of the trade there as well. And we've seen situations where things do not go well. A same place heading towards turn 10. Bushian tried to go for a move past Izala, but unfortunately the move doesn't quite work and he doesn't get past. So the drivers have been given a bit of a long time now to choose their setups, which is great news. And the timer is counting down, and it's a nice sunny day here at Zandvoort. So like Josh was saying, soft to mediums or mediums to softs. What's going to be the difference now with everyone being on fresh tyres, do you think?
It's definitely going to change the game a lot for a lot of these drivers, you could probably assume, as fresh tyres obviously means a fresh chance for everyone else to try and get up the field as best as they can. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one to see how everyone goes. Obviously, fresh tyres, fresh chance, as I like to say. But definitely for those bottom 11, crucially, they're going to have to try and have an attacking mindset. Maybe try for a couple of moves that don't really you see a lot in towards the S's. Maybe a sector 1 down the inside of turn 1 if there is space. But it's definitely going to be one to watch. But cannot wait to get into this, and we're ready to go for the formation lap.
Here we go then. So we have got pretty much an even split between the tyres, and everyone qualified on the soft compound tyres inside the top 10. So they followed the rules there, so good job to everyone. There'll be no DQs from that end. But outside the top 10, this is quite interesting. We were expecting quite a few people to do a split strategy, a few people going onto the soft compound tyres, a few people going onto the hards, but every single driver outside the top 10 has gone for the medium, so they're going to go for the alternate strategy. We've seen in other leagues, especially the alternate strategy, at least on console, work quite well. So to be honest, I'm not really that surprised that people have gone for it. Jonah Martin's like you were talking about earlier. He's in a prime position to climb as many positions as he can. He did that in Russia as well. Got the win on track, but JC got his time penalty removed, so he got demoted to second place. But surely he lied the day that he got the win, and it lasted for a day or two before he got taken away from him. But no fault of his own. But to be honest, you don't want to get a penalty for getting warnings which were unfair. So that is basically what happened. For your first Tier 2 broadcast on the PC side, Josh, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who would you say would be your top 3?
Oh, I'm not sure about that. Obviously, Leroy Brown looking good in P2. Wieta as well on pole position, looking good as well. Lenny Papinta can throw a few shadows. Obviously, the debutant of Matteo Longe as well in P4. So we cannot write anyone off in this top 4. Drake Dempsey, Morgan Ball, there's anyone who can win this. But I think my money is going to be on Leroy Brown.
Well, I think my money's on Lenny Papinta. Lenny is starting in third. He's got a good run towards turn 1. I think he's going to do well. Don't count out the 2 McLarens, as the 5 red lights are coming on for the Dutch Grand Prix. It's a long haul, but we're underway. Let's see who has the best start out of the Haas or the Alfa Romeo. It is a Haas driver who gets a brilliant run towards turn 1. We're also seeing a Mercedes driver, Lenny Papinta. Like I said, he's trying to gain ground on the Alpine car, the Williams car actually, as they head towards turn 2. A few contact already. It's the 2 McLarens going side by side. Contact from the background as we're seeing, I think, the likes of Paul Eckelmeyer down into 20th spot. Pesso down into 19th, but it's Vito in first. Leroy Brown second, Lenny Papinta in fourth. The top 4 remain unchanged for now. Drake Dempsey up into 5th place, so he's having an almighty start. He's looking to try and get past Matteo Longe in P4, but like I said, dirty air could be an issue at the moment, so track position could be key right now as Tad tries to go for a move on the inside of Jay Vahaha, which he does, and also Fritzen tries to get past Jay as well. So I wonder if Jay is carrying any significant damage on that Alpine car as they head towards turn 11 and 12, that right hand curb, and then moving slightly to the left before they head towards the banking so far. Don't be surprised to see a few people go into the pits, but good start from the Alfa Romeo and the Haas car. Lenny almost got second there, but just not quite. The Haas driver is just on form right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It did get a very, very good start off the lights. Got in front of Leroy Brown there as they're absolutely ghosting in front of each other on my screen. Not sure what has happened there, but Lenny Pipinta as well got a good start off the lights. Was challenging Mateo Longe alongside Drake Dempsey as his yellow flags further back, and that is Taz, who has crashed at the banking. Could we see a safety car there? I'm not quite sure. Don't think we will. As Simon Wayata as well, ghosting all over the place. I'm not sure if that's shown on your screen or my screen or not. I'm not sure what is happening there, but apparently Leroy Brown has taken the lead, but Lenny Pipinta in P2 as well, with Mateo Longe in P3 trying to close up the gap, as well as Wayata still ghosting inside of Mateo Longe.
Yeah, I'm seeing that as well. I'm seeing that as well. I'm seeing massive desync on Simon Vita because it's on top of each other, so... Yeah, that is not good for Simon Vito, unfortunately. But we obviously need to double check that to see if it's no problem for anybody else. So we may not be able to see some overtakes on the stream for Vito, unfortunately, but we should be able to see on the others then. It's Drake Dempsey then. He's going to try and go for a move in towards turn 1 on the right-hand side. Simon Vito, though, covers him off as the DRS is activated now, so good chance for Drake Dempsey to get the moves in into turn 10 coming up as well, because that will be the first detection point very, very soon as well. We'll look actually at the position changes so far in this race. We've got the top 3 who gained 1 position in this race. Biggest gainers, Fritzen and Jane up 6. So does Marcus Towler as well, who started near the back. Carson Webber, who's gained 3. Leonard's gained 2. Camille, who's gained 4, and Jonah Martins, who's gained 3 positions. But obviously biggest losers who had to go into the pits. JC Peso down 10, Paul Eckermeyer down 7, and Jay has dropped 1 position. Now Jay has got the DRS, he's got the ERS to use. Can he slip it down the inside of Simon Vita? No, he cannot. He's got to wait for Simon Vita to make a mistake. He almost does there. Mateo Longe, due to Simon Vita's mistake earlier, is now in the podium positions as well, which is brilliant to see at the moment. Can Drake Dempsey pressurise Vito actually into a mistake? We'll find out very soon. He's got a brilliant run towards turn 1. We'll see what he could do down the right hand side. He goes, leaves as much space as he possibly can. Can he make this move stick? Yes, he does. Drake Dempsey is up into 4th position of this race. Our race winner from last week is making ground already, up 1 position, and his next target, Josh, is Mateo Longe in P3.
Yeah, brilliant move there from Jake Dempsey down in towards P4, sorry. We actually didn't really have much of a chance. He tried to hold it around the outside on his front wing to rear wing, but gladly just backed out of the move, and now his teammate of Drake Dempsey, Morgan Ball, now looking hungry to try and get the Haas right now. But next target for Drake Dempsey, Mateo Longe, who's running okay in P3. Lenny Pipinta in P2 trying to battle with Leroy Brown. Has actually got the DRS on the Alfa Romeo, so maybe see a move going in towards turn 1. We could see from the Mercedes drivers, Mateo Longe still closing in on this battle for the lead. Drake Dempsey trying to close up to Longe as well, as Simon Wayata trying to defend from Morgan Ball. That's his main priority right now. Onto the back of Lenny Pipinta, on towards the back straight going in towards turn 1. This is crucial for Lenny Pipinta to try and take the lead. Drake Dempsey with the fast lap of the Grand Prix. Pipinta's just going to wait for a better time. Mateo Longe as well closing in on the Mercedes 2 with that DRS assistance. Drake Dempsey about 5-10 behind Longe as well, but makes a huge braking zone and already gains about 2/10 into one corner. That is brilliant bravery from Drake Dempsey. They're trying to get the most out of that McLaren driver as he possibly can. Brilliant to see there. Morgan Ball as well trying to wait for a little bit more on Wayata, and actually went purple in sector 1, so looking really, really pacey on those soft compound tyres, as Jonah Martin's doing well in P8, currently the lead medium runner as he's trying to battle with Dowdek as well in P7 with the other Ferrari, but Pipinta could be looking to try and take the lead in a couple of moments' time.
Yes, he can. Jonah Martin's actually doing a stellar job, but at the moment he was the one who benefited from people going into the pits as well, and he avoided all the carnage. It was really great to see from him as well. I did say to watch out for him going into this race, with him being on the alternate strategy pole position, and he's going to work wonders if he can make those mediums last up until the soft point as well. And we could see the mediums actually start to be faster very, very soon, because he's already closing up to the back of David in P7, so it'll be interesting to see what mind games that Jonah Martin is playing in the Aston Martin car so far. Didn't get off his season off to a great start, but he's having a much better last few races this far, with obviously the P2 in Russia as well, and he got some points, I believe, in Austria. So he's getting there as well, which is good because it is a long season ahead. This is the second season on the F1 2021 game here in WOR, and the second season on PC, and it's going quite well at the moment. Lenny Papinta still edging to try and close in onto Leroy Brown in the Alfa Romeo then. So he's got plenty of ERS actually, 94%, but he's a little bit too further back maybe. Yes, he is. I think turn 1 could be the good opportunity, but he's going to see if Leroy Brown may go a bit wide, which he's just not. He's just finding his lines right now. Lenny and Leroy have been racing each other last season in Tier 1, so they know what their strengths are. They know what their weaknesses are between these two. But Lenny Papinta, is he going to do the same to what Drake Dempsey did a moment ago? Is it going to be a move into turn 1? Can he hold his line? He does. Quite an easy overtake for Lenny Papinta, and he's up into the race lead of the Grand Prix, similar to what Drake Dempsey did, but Lenny got the move done way before Drake Dempsey could as well. So Lenny in 3 temps now behind Leroy Brown, and I wonder if Matteo Longe could take advantage of that as he starts to close in on the guys in front. And Drake Dempsey now, he is right on the back of Matteo. I'm looking forward to this. These soft runners are just giving it everything right now, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. A brilliant move there from Lenny Papinta to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Leroy Brown looking a little bit weak at the moment. He's already lost about 0.3 of a second to Lenny at this moment in time. But Matteo Longe now closing in. But Drake Dempsey looking the best of them all so far, really putting the pace down so far. Also, Lenny Papinta doing well. Obviously, got a full power battery as well. So it was a pretty easy overtake on Leroy Brown towards turn 1. But now Leroy's trying to stay in the DRS, trying to keep close to him as best as he can. Matteo Longe as well closing in, but we could see a move from Drake Dempsey in a couple of moments time on Matteo Longe. Does he want to try it down the inside? Matteo Longe tries to defend, but not really much use, as Drake Dempsey did not decide to make the move there, but he's still closing in as we enter the banking through and towards the left, in towards the right, and in towards the long banking once again. That is a very wide line from Longe, and Drake Dempsey tried the lower line, which is fairly equal in parts, but Longe, as you can just see, just got the better traction there, better line out of the exit there. So it was really good to see these different lines being played as well. But he's really closing in to the back of that Williams Leroy Brown as well, trying to close up to Papinta as best as he can. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in a couple of moments time for the hard compound tires. Maybe he's going to wait a little while longer for the mediums. Maybe he'll try an undercut, maybe he'll try an undercut. We're still not sure, as Drake Dempsey really pushing on the back of Longe here as they hit in towards the left and the right. Drake Dempsey looking really racy at the back of this Williams. Marcus Dow takes the first penalty of the day.
Yeah, first time penalty, which is not as common as previous tracks like Austria, where a lot of people have got time penalties, but you can still get time penalties here if you're not careful then. So Drake Dempsey, he's lost a bit of time to Matteo Longe as well. So I wonder if Matteo Longe has found a bit more pace and probably listened to his engineer and said you need to push a little bit more in your soft space, and that is exactly what Matteo has done. So he's probably saved a bit of his tyre life, I think, in order to go onto the medium tyres a little bit later on. So for those of you that are wondering when is a possible time to go on to the medium tyres, the mediums can last 20 laps, so you want to be going on to those soft tyres around about 16 laps. So the softs usually can last 14 laps, so if you can make it last 2 extra laps, you can do a soft to medium strategy quite easy, as we were discussing earlier on as well. So it's not going to be very long before the mediums become the more dominant tyre as well, as Jonah Martins could be actually making a move on David actually quite soon in and towards turn 1, as that will be the next DRS zone as well. As we're only down to 19 drivers, but they're still running, they're still making sure they gain as many positions as possible. The hard runners trying to find every bit of fibre to try and get back into this race as well. In terms of their side, no one is quite close enough to get the move. I think the closest was Leroy Brown actually on Lenny Papinta. So Leroy Brown was in cusp of getting Lenny, but he couldn't. Meanwhile, we got Jane and Fritzen. Jane getting side by side. Oh, is it going to be very tight heading towards turn 2? Fritzen almost got the move on Jane there, heading towards turn 3 and 4 now. And Jane has the upper hand there, and he's up into P13. Excellent stuff from him as well. Even though he's 13, don't forget the soft runners will need to pit so they can stretch those mediums for a little bit longer. And Jane and Fritzen, they've been in cleaner air compared to the other cars, so their tyres will probably be a bit better than some of the other medium runners like Jonah Martins, who is chasing down the other soft runners at the moment. So yeah, no major moves for the time being. We are starting to get to the point of the race where we're getting quite quiet, but you never know. Jonah could prove us all wrong in that regard, so we'll see. He's the closest to getting a move actually, so that's what's right on board with him as you're heading towards the banking of turn 14. Very long straight as well. Actually, in the GT layout of this track, you can't do that. As actually, we've got two soft runners in already, Josh. We've got Morgan and David in. Are they going to go on to the mediums or the hards? Surely the hards, because it's too early for the mediums, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit too early, but we're actually putting the wrong Morgan ball on the mediums alongside Dowrick, so they're all trying for the mediums, maybe trying to extend, maybe a two-stop even we're looking at, but right now I think it's trying to the crossover point where the mediums are just that fractionally quicker than the softs, as you can see with Jonah Martins currently in P6 really hunting down Wiata, and he was actually all over the back of Dowrick as well, so it was probably a no-brainer that Morgan Ball and Dowrick pitted there, but I was expecting the hards as much as you were, Jess, but it looks like they were trying for the mediums, so maybe they're hoping for a safety car to try and save them with the tyre life, but maybe the mediums can run this far back, but it's definitely going to be interesting. But meanwhile, Drake Dempsey getting very, very close to the back of Matteo Longay now as they come towards the next right-hander in towards the final sector of Sector 3. Will they decide to come in this lap, or maybe they will wait as we are expecting right on board with Pipinta now. He's into the pit lane from the lead alongside Drake Dempsey, so they're all pitting early as Wiata also enters the pits again. These for the mediums as well. As we look over to the Mercedes, it's the mediums for him as well. Drake Dempsey as well in the mediums. Simon Wiata as well as we run on board with him. Is he in for the mediums? Yes, they are. So they're all in for the mediums. No one wanted to touch the hard so far.
Yes, they want to cover off the drivers who obviously pitted quite early on, like Morgan Ball and David as well, so they had no other choice, to be honest, even though they may want to wanted to go on the hards. Or there could be a threat of rain happening later on in the race. Maybe that's why they've gone onto the mediums nice and early, or maybe they just wanted to do something different. Maybe they can get the mediums to the end. And the undercut has not worked well for Morgan Ball. Lenny Pipinta and Drake Dempsey are ahead of Morgan Ball at the moment. So Lenny is your net race leader with Drake Dempsey and net P2 right now, but Leroy Brown and Matteo could be the ones to change all that. I'm surprised they're still staying out as well. Maybe they think the mediums can't get to the end, but I think I'm worried that the longer they stay out, the longer it would probably cost them in terms of time. But we saw the overcut work for Lenny Pipinta, so that's probably why they're staying out a bit longer. Matteo Longay is in then. He is in then. So he saw the others come in and he's like, you know what, I'm going to come in as well. No speeding in the pit lane problems for his first race in WOR, which is great to see as reserve driver. Medium tyres for the Williams driver he goes, and he's the last car in the pit lane as well, so he doesn't have long to travel, which is good. So we'll ride on board with Lenny Pipinta then in 10th position. I think he's going to be ahead of Matteo then. He is quite comfortably, in fact. So, but Matteo actually goes back to where he was actually before the pit stopped in P3. So to be honest, for Matteo, decent stop for him.
Yeah, definitely so. Actually, Drake Dempsey, I believe, jumped him in the pit stops as well. Drake Dempsey is having a brilliant race so far, keeping it really, really pacey so far, sticking to the back of a lot of these guys, and now it's only the lone Leroy Brown who's the only man on the soft compound tyre so far, so waiting to try and make those mediums definitely to the end. Obviously the couple of those guys taking a little bit of a risk as we may have thought, but it's definitely interesting to see when they pitted as well. But Drake Dempsey really putting the pressure on Lenny Pipinta now out of the pit stops as well. Camille Stachurek as well, Statura, sorry, closing in to WR Leonard as well. Does he want to try it down the inside of turn 1? He's had a little bit of a think on the Alfa Romeo, but just can't get the job done. Marcus Stahl as well, running well in P6, just driving his own race. Drake Dempsey, the fastest man on track so far with that 12.174, really on Lenny Pepinter so far as they enter in towards the S's and the banking so far. Lenny Pepinter electing for that inside line alongside Drake Dempsey, so both electing for the lower line. We've seen a couple of people try a higher line. I know Mateus Longe was doing that in a couple of laps for the most laps, trying the outside line to get a better exit, but definitely interesting to see. But right now, Leroy Brown is actually having not bad pace on the soft compound tyres, not really losing a lot to Jonah Martins, but he is losing a little bit, so maybe those stops just starting to die out, but it's definitely time for the crossover point where the mediums are just that fractionally quicker than the softs.
Yeah, definitely. So I wonder if he's going to come into the pits now. Surely him having some good laps on the softs have probably helped him a little bit. And yes, he does come in, so that will put Jonah into the lead of the race. So that's all the soft runners then that have came in for their first stops and probably one and only stops right now as well. So we'll see where Leroy comes from. We've got a yellow flag. That is a Haas car that's gone off. That is Pesso down in 19th position. So his race has gone from bad to worse at the moment. But let's not focus on him. Let's focus on the likes of Drake Dempsey, Lenny Pepinter, Matteo, Morgan Bull, Simon Biter. Leroy Brown has dropped quite a bit from his nearest rivals just by staying out a very long time. I think he was about second, I think, to the likes of obviously Lenny Pepinter and Drake Dempsey. But now Leroy Brown is the one that's ahead right now. Drake Dempsey is actually ahead of Lenny Pepinter now. So Drake Dempsey and Lenny could be the first. Any of these two could be the first driver to be a repeat winner this season, because out of all the races we had so far, all four have been different winners. We had JC who won in Russia. We had the likes of Drake Dempsey that won in Austria. We had Morgan Bull that won in round number 1. I can't remember who won in round number 2. Oh, it was Lenny Pepinter who won in round 2. As we do have one retirement of Pesso, who has unfortunately retired in the pit. So he's decided to call it a day. So we're down to 18 runners of this Dutch Grand Prix. Jonah Martins leads on track by 2.9 seconds, but your net race leader, Drake Dempsey, leads Lenny Pepinter by 4/10 of a second then. And then we've got Matteo Longe closing up to 3/10 of a second. Morgan Bull just not that far behind as well in a net P4. Vita is in a net P5, and Leroy Brown a net P6. And then we've got David a net P7, and everybody else behind them have obviously stayed out and pitted quite early on due to the damage that they had, and they're going to drop a little bit further down when they go into the pit as well. So it'll be interesting to see how long these mediums can stretch. I think it can stretch, obviously, if it can stretch to 16 laps, maybe I would say in about 5 or 6 laps time, maybe they could go onto the softs, maybe about lap 24, I would say, would probably be the best option, or maybe a few laps earlier than that, we don't know. But like you said earlier, the strategy is absolutely key, so we'll have to see what Jonah Martins could do. He could be the first man to pull the trigger.
Yeah, definitely. So I probably would expecting the medium runners so far pitting around 24, 25, 26, 27 at the latest if they can. Jonah Martins, as we actually see Marcus Dow pitting, actually retiring in the pit lane, so deciding to call it a day. So we're down to 17 as Morgan Bull doing well to try and keep up to Mateus Longe as well. Lenny Pepinter still plugging away on Drake Dempsey, who's currently running in P8. Further up the field of the medium runners, Carson Webber still closing in on Statura in P3, running well. These little battle between Leonard Statura and Carson Webber really looking pretty interesting on these mediums. But right now, Jonah Martins having a really good race so far on this alternate strategy. So looking to try and pit in the next 10 laps or so, maybe even less, around 10, 9, 8 laps or so. But right now you can probably see Drake Dempsey taking a little bit of a lead so far on Lenny Pepinter, 0.5 of a second so far, and Lenny just can't really keep up at this moment in time. He's down to 75% at the moment, so he's using a little bit of his ZRS to try and stick excuse me, with Drake Dempsey so far, but it's definitely getting interesting for this battle for the net lead.
Yeah, it is as well, and we've seen that with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in real life. Max Verstappen was able to defend Lewis Hamilton because you just can't overtake, and I did see a Williams car try and defend off Fritzen again, so those two fighting again like they did about pretty much 7 or 8 laps ago, but Jane just about holds on to P5 on the road, which is brilliant for him as well. Don't forget, he has had some bad luck for not getting any points this season. In Russia, he didn't even make it past turn 1 at all. So to be honest, Jane will need a lot of work to do here. But so far on the mediums, he's doing quite well. He stayed there for the majority of the race. He didn't have to pit earlier on as well. Hasn't got any damage on his Williams car as well. But there's certain areas where you can see he's struggling for traction, and you can see where Fritzen is gaining a little bit more time. So Fritzen is going to gain the DRS on him. He's got 55% battery. He can't get past, which shows the dirty air can be quite hard for these drivers to follow. But with the new regulations this year in real life, hopefully it will make it a little bit easier for the cars to follow. We did see some photos comparing last year's shakedown to this year's shakedown. We are getting high hopes for the cars that we will see some more overtakes hopefully in these kind of tracks. We're starting to see a move actually for Drake Dempsey past Hazib as well. So Hazib's mediums are starting to struggle there, but Drake is on the fresher tyres, so he's up into 7th place, making his way through the traffic then. As you can see, Jane and Fritzen going side by side into the banking as they're trying to make as much room as they possibly can. Who said you can't overtake there? Well, these two are trying to prove us wrong. Fritzen up to the left-hand side and towards turn 7. Sweeping move he tries to go and do, and he does it with ease. That is absolutely fantastic from the Red Bull driver, Fritzen, a man who did not want to stay behind Jane Trukov for very, very long. He is up into 5th place on the road, and surely he's going to be passed by Drake Dempsey anytime soon, but he just got to get the move done, and he did. Brilliant stuff, and surely he's going to have it tough to try and get past cars at least 7 seconds down the road. But to be honest, that was great racing. I think we're seeing more racing from these midfield drivers at the moment than our net race leaders. Great to see from Fritzen.
Yeah, brilliant move there from Fritzen to get up into P5. Meanwhile, Drake Dempsey tried his best on Yannick Tritkov as well, timing it down the inside. Does he get the job done in towards turn 1? Yes, he does, having a little bit of a look on Fritzen as well down the inside. Brilliant move there from Drake Dempsey to get the both of them. Absolutely fantastic, and that was crucial for Drake Dempsey. He's got Lenny Papinta just in front of him as Fritzen tries to bait a massively defensive move on the outside. I'm not sure Lenny would have appreciated that, but a brilliant move there and a crucial move for Drake Dempsey if he wants to try and extend his advantage in this net lead so far. He has to try and let Lenny Papinta battle away these so-called back markers, if you like, as Yannick Tritkov as well, trying to make it difficult for Matthias Longo. As we see Wiata trying it down the inside of Acid. That's a brilliant move, and it hasn't worked out as the AlphaTauri gets onto the curves and gets all squeamish out there as Morgan Ball round the outside of the Aston Martin AlphaTauri, makes a brilliant move. Leroy Brown also follows this. There's not been a good couple of corners for Hasif in the AlphaTauri, not what he wanted. So meanwhile, Matteo Longe still pushing on the back of his Williams teammate of Yannick Tritkov as they come towards the right-hander and in towards the final corner. Carson Webber off on the medium compound tyres to try the soft compound tyres on lap 21. As here comes Matteo Longe side by side on his teammate of Yannick Tritkov as Lenny Papinta gets the job done on Shazoo Fritzen as well. But look how much time he's lost. He's down to 1 second behind Drake Dempsey, so he's really going to have to push now as much as he can.
I think everyone needs to push if you're trying to catch up to the so-called back markers at the front as well. And Drake Dempsey did it with ease, whereas Lenny Papinta struggled a little bit, but he eventually got past at the moment as Vita actually gets past the other back marker there, up into P8 at the moment on the road, but still a net P4 on the track. Jonah Martin still lead, but I'm intrigued as to why Carson Webber pitted this early at the moment. But we did say that people like Leroy Brown was able to stretch it 14, 15 laps, and maybe Carson Webber saw Leroy Brown pit quite late, so he probably thought, you know what, I could do it. And he's probably banking for a late safety car. But if there's no safety car that comes, he's going to be in a bit of trouble. And Jonah Martin is probably covering for Carson Webber, and he's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. This is bad news for him, and if they don't make any more pit stops, Jonah Martins will be forced to be added on to the end of the race. We'll see more people in to the pits. We've got Camille who is in, Leonard is in as well, so that will promote Drake Dempsey to the race lead on track as well, with Lenny in P2, and that only leaves Fritzen out there to try and fend off these people that are already pitted, and as you can see, he's already got a yellow warning light. And for those of you that are wondering on the F1 2021 game, what the hell is that? Basically, they don't have enough fuel to make it to the end of this race, so they got to do a bit of fuel saving to do so. In the last few games, you were able to put it on lean mix to save a bit of fuel, and then if you got too much fuel, you could put it on rich, but you can't. You've only got it on standard mix for the entire race, unless it's a safety car and you can put it on lean now, and then it will go back to standard again. So Fritzen has got to save for his life, and yeah, Fritzen is probably hoping for a safety car, otherwise he is going to run out of fuel at the end of this race. But the moves he has been making, I have to say, has been quite remarkable, and he's still got Tripkov right over the back of him, which could go on for hours and hours, it looks like. But that's not what Leroy Brown is hoping for, because Leroy Brown wants to get past him ASAP, but Tripkov lets him through. He decided it's not part of my battle, so Leroy Brown is now in the battle with against Morgan Ball now for a P5 on the road to try and get some decent points in this Grand Prix. Carson Webber gets the fastest lap of this race. No fastest lap are awarded in WOR Tier 2, but at least it is for the glory right now to see if they can try and gain as many points as they possibly can if they're outside the top 10 right now. Drake is definitely stretching that gap, isn't he? 1.5 second. He's already out of DRS range to Lely Papinta, so Lely Papinta will have Matteo catching an array of knots, because Matteo will be the first driver to have DRS in this DRS train. But let's look at Jonah Martins first then, as he gets past Dabadek into turn 9 and 10, and he does it up into 9th place, and he's on those soft tyres. Of course the softs are going to be faster than the mediums. He just pitted onto them at the moment. I'm just looking at the delta between the softs and the mediums for almost 0.6 of a second, so these are going to be lightning pace compared to the medium compounded tyres. Surely it's going to be another easy move for him as Jane and Hasif go into the pits for the softs, and Jonah is up into 7th place so far. How will the other soft runners do? We'll have to wait and see, Josh.
Yeah, definitely. So I would be surprised if they try and gain their advantage as quickly as they can to these medium cars. It's only Dawadek and JST who's currently still on the medium compound of tyres so far, but well, an older ones to be fair. But I just want to point out Wiata, from these issues that he's been having, he's having a good race so far, been P4 but battling away with Morgan Bull, who's having a good race as well as he comes towards the right, and that is a yellow flag, and I think that is Dawadek in the wall.
Yeah.
Yes it is, and not what he wanted his race to end like that, but he's getting it underway. But I think there's some major wing damage on the back of that Ferrari.
Yes, he was doing so well. He was battling so many cars as well. Full position, he could have been in the points, but you could see his car is limping all the way through turn 10 and heading towards turn 11 and 12, the left and right chicane. So he'll probably have to call it a day, maybe, or will he go to the softs to try and get some glory in some way, because it can still be doable. It can still be doable, but his race is pretty much over. As Jonah Martins is under pressure from the likes of Leroy Brown and Morgan Ball. Jonah Martins actually gets past Simon Biter up into P6, so there's the softs are starting to come together right now into the banking. They go as well. Will Jonah Martins find it easy to get past Leroy Brown and Morgan Ball? This is for position at the moment. Viter is absolutely struggling right now. He's losing positions to Leonard and Camille. He's letting people through at the moment, so the softs are oh so powerful, but probably Vita's thinking right now the softs are okay now, but they're going to struggle towards the end. I'm going to be lightning pace towards the end, and maybe I can catch them back, but it may be too little too late, because they gain about 5 tenths per lap, but we'll have to wait and see. But he's just lost about 3 or 4 positions in about a few corners, so that's not good for the Haas driver, but he's probably seeing things that we're not right now, as Leonard actually is trying to see if he can get past Camille. Actually, Leonard is actually looking good to be getting some points this race as well. There's a few races where he hasn't got any points, but this could be the race where it changes all that at the moment. This is what I like about this race. So many different strategies that could either go right or go wrong. Everyone is on a risky strategy right now, as Jonah Martins actually gets past Morgan Bull up into P4 into turn 2, and the same with Leonard on Camille. So Jonah up to 4th, Leonard up into P7 then. So Jonah Can he get into the top 3? But more crucially, can he find a 3-second gap on Matteo Longay to do so? Because he's the only one with a 3-second time penalty.
It's actually a 5-1 as it was speeding in the pit lane infringement from the Aston Martin, so he's going to have to make up as much more pace as he can, but on those softs it shouldn't be a massive stretch of the imagination. 10 laps to go, obviously he has those 13 on the softs, which is fairly doable I would assume, but there definitely would be crying at the end of this race, but he's going to have to push a little bit harder on these soft compound tires, which I'm sure he doesn't really want to do. Meanwhile, Matthias Longay as well really closing in to Lenny Pipinta, but right now Drake Dempsey having a brilliant race so far, almost a 2.1, 2.2 gap to Lenny Pipinta at the moment, but Matteo Longay could close up to that P2 and Lenny Pipinta can have it taken away. Does he want to choose the right hand side? He's going to pull out down the inside.
Wow.
Goes to Williams driver and Lenny Pipinta tries to defend, but it's going to be useless as Longay up in towards P2, but does Pipinta have anything up his sleeve? No, he doesn't, and it's going to be Longay with a brilliant move down the inside at turn 1 to take P2.
Well, the Longay name has done very, very well in F1 esports, while Matteo Longay is looking to keep that name in full swing in Tier 2 right now in second position. And to be honest, he'll be very happy with that because this is a strong grid in WRPC Tier 2, and he's gone into that for the first time tonight as well. It must have been very, very tricky for him, but so far he has been dealt with so many things and he's nailed that pressure, which is great to see. But the biggest pressure that he's got now is to try and get past the race leader, Drake Dempsey, which is 2.4 seconds down the road, which is going to be very, very hard. But he has the most advantage right now. He's on the fresher tyres. He pit a lap later compared to Drake Dempsey. You never know. Drake Dempsey tyres could fall on the edge of a cliff, and Mateus could be like, you know what, I could try and get past. Well, keep an eye on the gap. Right now, as Lenny Pipinta is trying to fight back on Matteo Longay. You can see that Lenny Pipinta as well on the gearbox as well. Leroy Brown has overtaken Morgan Bull. Fourth position, Leroy Brown very, very easy on the brakes with the DRS up to 3.5. Leroy Brown is another driver that I'm keeping an eye on at the fuel gauge right now. He's also on the yellow as well, so he's in danger of not getting to the end of the race. He'll be at low fuel mode as Fritzen has retired from the Grand Prix. He has retired from the pit lane, unfortunately, so we're already down to 16 runners in this Search Grand Prix. Thank you to those of you that just joined us from the Tier 1 stream. Hopefully you enjoyed the race there, and we still got a few more laps of this race to go in Tier 2, so you'll still be under a treat. For those of you that just joined us, Drake Dempsey is leading the way with Matteo in a P2. If Drake Dempsey could hold the lead, we could have the first repeat winner in WRPC Tier 2 this season, but we can have another new person on the podium as well, as Carson Webber becomes the second driver to pick himself a time penalty, but he's got Camille and Leonard for company at the moment, but he is going to be, I think, overtaken by Viter and by Viter actually in terms of penalties, which is not good to at the moment. He could be almost outside of the point, so he needs to push right now, because he knows his tyres are going to die very, very soon too, but we'll have to wait and see. So we're almost at the final third of this race. Jonah Martins could be on his next attack. He's got to get past both of these cars ASAP, because otherwise he's not even going to get a podium. He may even drop down to P6.
Yeah, it's not been great so far for Jonas. He's had a great race from the pace, but just unfortunate to get that 5-second penalty. Maybe can get it removed if it was unfair. Look at that down the inside. That is very, very late from Martins. He's tried it down the inside of Pipinta. Brilliant move. He just pinches him on the curb, but a brilliant and audacious move from Jonah Martins. A fantastic effort from the Aston Martin, and gets up in towards P3, and now his next target is Matteo Longay as they come towards Sector 3. Once again, through and towards the right comes Martins on Longay in the Williams as they come in towards the back straight. DRS wide open for the Aston Martin. He could get both of them here. It would be a brilliant effort if he does. Side-by-side action. Martins down the inside. Doesn't even need it down the inside. Brilliant move there from Martins, and he's up in towards P2. Fantastic move.
He had to get the move, didn't he? He got to, because otherwise he's going to drop down massive position. So he's got to make sure now that he claws that 3-second gap to the likes of Matteo Longay and Lenny Papinta to get that podium. And more importantly, can he get those tyres to the end? Those are two very important questions. So he's just got to focus, get his head down and close in the gap as soon as possible, because very soon the soft tyres won't be the ideal tyre to run on this track. But Drake Dempsey's tyres must be scrawling for dear life right now, but there's people that went on those medium tyres for 24 laps, so he can do it right now. 3.1 is the gap. It is hovering at the moment, so Drake Dempsey doing a stellar job to make sure everyone else has been kept behind him right now. Let's see who else looks the closest right now for a move. Camille Statua at the moment looking quite good on Lennon in the Red Bull. Camille, when he's been filling in as reserve, has done quite a good job in getting some moves done as well. There's a few times where he's been a bit quiet, but to be honest, sometimes when people make mistakes, he could be the one who capitalises on it and gets some decent points out of it. So Camille, he can't get past Leonard. He's a little bit too further back. What about the likes of Hazif on James Jacob? Nope, he can't get the move done either. A few people so close to be getting points. This is going to be very, very tight right now. Jonah Martin is now 2.8 seconds as we're seeing the Ferrari driver Carson Webber looking very deep there towards the bank, which is not ideal, but he's also got a penalty to worry about as well, so he's just going to find it very, very hard as well. And I doubt Jonah Martins is going to claw back the 5 seconds that he needs to get that podium. So as it stands, it will be Drake Dempsey P1, Matteo Longay P2 and Lenny Papinta P3. I can't do the maths up until that point, so I don't know where Jonah Martins is going to be. He's not pushing the way he would have liked, so it might be that his tyres are starting to die a little bit. We're seeing Camille closing in on Lennon. No, we can't do it at this point. But I'm looking at Camille's ERS, Josh. It's a full on 100%. He's not even using it at all.
No, definitely not, and it's very, very good to see him not using his ERS and keeping this pace up as he uses a little bit to try and close up, but it's been brilliant pace to show that so far as the Lenny Papinta gets in front of Longay. But here comes Statula on WR Leonard down the inside, just backs out of it very, very late, but he starts to push on. Meanwhile, further up as Lenny Papinta did get the job done on Matteo Longay in towards P2, so now Papinta up in towards P3, could be P2 with Jonah Martinson's penalty. As we just have a look, 1.5, it's about going to be P5 at best right now for Jonah Martins. I would think maybe even P6 at the moment, so he's really going to have to push as hard as he can to try and get this 5 seconds away from the gap if he wants to try and get a podium. But with 5 laps to go, it may be just a little bit too little and a little bit too late for Jonah Martins, but he's going to give it his all. Meanwhile, Matteo Longay still plugging away on Lenny Papinta. He wants this P2 on track, P3, sorry, on track back as they come towards the back straight. He needs as little bit as ERS as he can. 20% he's on so far to Lenny Papinta's 54. So Longay has not been using his ERS wisely. You could probably assume as they come towards the back straight now, DRS wide open for Longay, not touching his ERSs at all. As you can see his red light flashing, that means he's under 10%, so it's not been good so far. Meanwhile, Camille Statura gets the job done this time, and WR Carson Webber tries it down the inside of Lennon as well. Not this time going to work, but he's going to try it around the outside. It's the Ferrari driver, but just backs out at the latest opportunity. Tried a double move, did Carson, but just didn't work out. But Statura up in towards P7, Leonard in P8, Carson Webber in P9, but for how much longer?
Yes, they don't have long to do it, to be honest, for these guys, because they only have a few positions to make as well. We're on lap 33 of 36. Drake Dempsey leads so far, 2.6 seconds clear of Jonah Martins, but he's going to be a little bit clear as well due to Jonah Martin's penalty. But surely Drake Dempsey just did a mad. Drake Dempsey is on form at the moment. Can we see our first championship contender really start to put his marker in the season at the moment, because he is the only driver that could be winning 2 races so far this season, but he's got 3 laps to go. Can he do it? He can't make any mistakes right now, as Paul Eckermeyer has got a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. I'm not sure if that get that removed. We're seeing JC actually at the back being on 30 laps on the medium tyres. His race has gone from bad to worse, same with the other Alpine of Jay Verhagen. Not much luck has gone in the way of those two, so hopefully they'll have a much better result when we head to the next track in 2 weeks' time. So this is going to be very, very tight then for Matteo, and he's still chasing him down. If I was him, I would wait till the last possible moment on the penultimate lap, because there's no point doing it on the final lap because it will be too late to do it. He's closing up right now. Lenny almost made a mistake there. Lenny could see Matteo in his mirrors. He knows that Matteo can be quite quick as well. Matteo knows that Lenny can be quite quick. This must be huge pressure for him. Matteo did it earlier, so it's his job to do it again. He's close enough as what he was the lap where he made the overtake, so we'll see if he could do it again. 19% ERS is Mr. Longay, 54% for Lenny. So if I was betting here, it would be Lenny trying to defend off Matteo. I think Lenny could get P2 of this one, but we will see. Matteo, is he going to try and go the long way round? He does not. Stays behind Lenny Papinta. This could be one of his chances gone right now to be getting P2, but he still potentially could be on for a podium. But look at this. Who is also in this train is Leroy Brown as well. He can also spoil the party for both of them. So if either of those two make a mistake, that could be game over for these two. And I am looking forward to seeing who is going to get on that podium. We know that Trey Dempsey is, but who is going to be the two drivers that join him?
Yeah, definitely so. Lenny Papinta looking pretty comfortable so far in P3, but Matteo Longay is going to leave it extremely late, but he's going to have to do it in Sector 1. There's not a lot of overtaking opportunities in P2 and P3. Paul Eckelmeyer with a 5-second penalty again for crossing the white line at pit entry as it comes towards the left and towards the right. Longay eager to try and push up Papinta as much as he can. Jonah Martins in P2 will be taken down to P6, I believe, after the penalties are applied, unless he can try something magical in these final couple of laps as we ride on to the final lap. Here comes Longay, really putting the pressure on the Mercedes of Papinta. He has to get this done right now. He's not going to find space in towards turn 1, but is he going to find it in turn 2, 3 and 4? Here they come now with the exit, and I think Longay's just not quite close enough to try and go for the moving towards the banking. No, he done. So it might be Papinta who keeps this P2, but Drake Dempsey having a fantastic race so far in P1 and looking to take this race victory here in Holland, and it's looking likely we have a championship contender on the battle with 2 races to his name so far. 4 different race winners. It's now going to be 4 different race winners in 5 races. Drake Dempsey rounding the final couple of sectors to a brilliant Dutch Grand Prix.
Here he is. He's driven absolutely amazing today. Some brilliant moves that he has done so far. We do have a yellow flag. I think it could be one of... It's Leroy Brown. Leroy Brown is running out of fuel. Leroy Brown is running out of fuel. We'll ride on board with him in just a second. We saw the warning light come on him early on in the race, but Drake Dempsey is going to be the first man who's going to be winning twice here at WRPC T2. He won in Austria. He has won in Zandvoort. He's won 2 times in a row. Who's going to get P2? It is Lenny Papinta by 3 tenths per second. Matteo Longay on his debut gets a podium, which I have to say, fair play to him, a brilliant drive for him. I'm sure he'll be very happy with that, but he'll probably be gutted to just miss out on P2. Morgan Ball gets P5. Camille gets P6, Lennon in P7, Simon in P8, Carson in 9th, and due to Leroy running out of fuel, he has dropped down into 10th, but at least he gets some points on the board, so it could be worse for him, but that is just cruel for him to happen like that, and there has been no safety cars, so sometimes you have to take your risk of underfueling, but Leroy Brown's risk unfortunately did not pay off, and so those were your point scorers. But Drake Dempsey has put a stamp. Drake Dempsey is telling every single WR Tier 2 driver, I want to win this championship, come and get me.
Yeah, definitely so. An absolutely fantastic race from Drake Dempsey. Started P5 in qualifying and made some amazing moves in the race, and the strategies we said before in qualifying was the crucial part of this race, and he's done it absolutely fantastically. It's Drake Dempsey and taking that championship lead in towards the break. An absolutely fantastic feeling it must be for him. Unfortunate for JST and Paul Eckelmeyer on the on 15th and 16th, just didn't have the luck towards his way, but it's definitely been a fantastic race for Drake Dempsey, and he wins here in Holland.
And it extends his championship lead as well on his rivals, the likes of Morgan Ball and Lenny Papinta. I think Lenny Papinta could actually jump up a few positions and actually beat Morgan Ball, but we'll have to obviously wait and see. We'll keep an eye on the championship standings in 2 weeks' time. So here's your podium. We've got 3 different constructors on there. 2 people have been on the podium before, and obviously Mateo making his debut on the podium on his debut into WOR as well. He's only a reserve driver, so who knows what's to come this season when he gets called up. And no Dutch person won this race. We've got an American and 2 Frenchmen on the podium, so close to Dutch, but not quite. But anyway, let's look at your results then. For the Dutch Grand Prix, Drake Dempsey become the first person to win twice this season. He wins. Lenny Papinta in second, Matteo Longate in third, Morgan Ball just missed out on the podium, but he gets an impressive P4. Jonah Martins, he comes across the line in 5th due to Leroy Brown running out of fuel on the last lap. Camille Statulet, Camille, whatever his name is, in P6. Lennon in P7, Vita in P8, Carson in 9th, not too bad as a debut reserve to Tier 2, and Leroy Brown gets the final point. Then we got Jane Hazard, Davidic, Jay Vahaha, JC and Paul Wickham. There your last finishers, and your retirements are Fritzen, Marcus Towler, Peso and Touts. Only 4 retirements in this Dutch Grand Prix, and I have to say, quite a brilliant race. Quite a few overtakes that I was not expecting, Josh, and you know, this is giving me really good hopes going into the next round in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. It was some fantastic racing today. Definitely not what we were expecting. A lot of great moves we saw towards turn 1 and turn 2, but a fantastic race we did see as well as we move over to our break week this week. But we will be back next in 2 weeks' time for the Canadian Grand Prix, an absolutely fantastic race. That is, hopefully Luke will be back for Canada in 2 weeks' time. Obviously doing Tier 1 this week, so massive congratulations to him. But hopefully Danfield is feeling better as well to do Tier 1. But a fantastic race we saw in Holland. I was so grateful to be commentating here for Tier 2 tonight here in Holland. But it's been a fantastic race, and it is Drake Dempsey, your winner here in Holland.
Yes, indeed. Hopefully we could speak to either of those in the interview room. Yes, we can. We've got 2 of the 3 podium sitters in the interview box, but we're going to be interviewing the man, the myth, the legend first for his second win in a row. He won in Austria. He won at Zandvoort. Drake Dempsey, congratulations. I told you were going to get the dub here tonight, and you did today. Congratulations. How do you feel for getting the win in such a tough track to overtake?
Man, I'm exhausted. I'm very happy about that. That was a very nice race.
Yeah, it looked like it. You were making moves left, right and centre there as well. And you didn't qualify pole. Obviously, you qualified 5th, I believe, as well. So you had it all to do to try and get into P1. Was it the strategy, you think, that helped you get the undercuts you need to close in onto Lenny Papinta?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, did the undercut with Lenny. I was going to pit whenever one of they did, or on lap 11. So, yeah. And it was lap 11, so...
Yeah, it was. It was nice.
So, sorry.
It was early. Me and Josh were questioning if it was the right decision, maybe. But were your tyres getting a bit too hot and having a lot of wear towards the end, or because you had that clear air, were you able to save a bit of tyre deg?
I was pushing basically the entire time just to try to pull as much of the gap as possible. The tires weren't very sketchy near the end. I mean, of course they were getting up there, but they didn't reach 70. They were getting there, but they were in the 60s.
Wow. But luckily it wasn't punch territory yet, so you were able to get some great moves done and able to get the win. So, first repeat winner this season. You're making your marks in the championship. We're obviously heading into the break week as well. How important is it that your momentum is high going into Canada in a couple of weeks' time?
Seeing as it's a, I guess, home track, North America.
Yes.
I think it's a good. I like the track. I think it's good momentum to have, getting a good mentality going into the break instead of having a bad race. So yeah, I think it couldn't be any better. Yeah, I mean. And many people were struggling with fuel, and I knew coming in it was a pretty high burning fuel track, and I put in a perfect amount, so it worked out. perfectly in the end.
Because I think we saw the likes of Leroy Brown run out of fuel on the line. I didn't really see if it was fuel, but there was yellow flags near him, so I think I was guessing that as well. Josh, any questions for our race winner?
Well, Dre, it was an absolutely fantastic race from you. Was it any difficult to just try and keep that pace, or did you know you had the pace to just try and keep going and keep the lead as much as you can? But was it difficult to keep that lead going?
It was definitely a high pace, but I was consistent, and I was very consistent throughout that, and I'm proud of that. It wasn't too hard to keep it because I knew what I was doing, just the subconsciously driving in a way, but just knowing what to do and doing it, not making mistakes, and that's what mattered. It was a good pace. I didn't think I had it in me to gap the likes of them, but I did, and won by 5 seconds, so I couldn't be more proud of myself there.
Yeah, definitely. It was a fantastic race from you, and you go into Canada with the championship lead. Do you think you can try and keep it?
Definitely. I think if I just get a decent result for the rest of the season, the most consistent person wins, yeah.
Yeah,
Canada's a
definitely.
pretty nice track, of course, and I enjoy it. I'll be doing a lot of practice, though. I'll be using the time that is not going to be a race to practice for said race.
Yeah, best of luck, Drake, for the rest of the season. Enjoy your break as well, because you deserve it. And congratulations, Drake. Our first repeat winner this season, and you won 2 races in a row. Congratulations. And whilst Drake goes out and celebrate, we'll go on to our next podium sitter. We couldn't get Lenny Papinta into the box, but we're getting our 3rd place man into the box as well. His debut into WR Tier 2 this evening, but he's definitely made a statement. Matteo, can you hear us?
Yes, indeed.
Congratulations on your P3 there, but it was almost a P2 there. How did you feel about that race?
Well, I gotta admit, it was a really fun race. I mean, everyone was just so close together. There was a huge train at the start of the race. It was hard to keep up with the boys, but I managed to stick around. So I would keep in the DRS because obviously DRS in Netherlands is very important.
Yes, it is, and I think I saw the move you made on Lenny. I think a few laps before Lenny made the move on you as well. How crucial was it to defend the moves into turn 1 in the first couple of laps? Because you were able to stay P3 for pretty much the first stint before you pitted onto mediums.
Well, in the first corner, it's all about traction, so it's really hard to overtake there, but I mean, you just gotta have the perfect traction there, and then you'll just get past easily. But it's still a pretty hard turn since there's the curb there, and as soon as you touch it, you just go spinning everywhere.
Yeah, so people said who they can't overtake in Zandvoort. Well, you just proved that you definitely can as well. And this is your first race in WR tonight. Were you actually expecting to get a podium tonight on your first race with such a high caliber drivers?
I mean, definitely not, because I got alerted. I think about 30 minutes before the race, so I really had to practice a lot in these 30 minutes, and
wow,
it was really hard to keep up as well, because I have my window open and a butterfly came in half the race. I had to drive with one hand to get it off, my screen.
That's commitment right there. That is commitment right there. So he's driven one-handed and he was called 30 minutes before the race and you still got a P3. That's a Nico Hulkenberger for you. Josh, any questions for Matteo?
Mateo's an absolutely fantastic race from you. If you can do 30 minutes on practice with one hand and get P3 in Tier 2, no wonder what you can do with about 2 hours of practice with 2 hands on the wheel. But it was an absolutely fantastic race from you. Almost got P2, but Lenny was just that little bit quicker. Did you think you could try and get it later on, or was it just a little bit too far of a gap?
It was, I think it was too hard since already like 5 laps before the end, I had to save fuel because I'm in the red zone. So I think a lot of people were in the red zone. you really need a lot of fuel in this track since many straights with DRS. But yeah, I definitely thought I wasn't sure I was gonna get the P2 since I was using a lot of DRS because I was stuck behind not the lap peoples, but the people that didn't pit. So it was really hard getting past them and keeping up with the DRS with Lenny and obviously Dempsey. But Dempsey just gapped because he got lucky. Well, not lucky. I know it's skill, but there's also some luck included.
Yeah, of course. It's a mix of luck and skill you do need in league racing, and definitely a lot of luck does come into it. But you are down as a reserve driver. Do you think you can make any more appearances here in WR? We would absolutely love to see you more on occasion. But do you think you may see an appearance at Canada?
Oh, Canada. Ooh, that's a pretty bad track. I mean, I'll try to come.
Nice. So congratulations to you, Matteo. Your first podium in your WR debut as well, and hopefully we'll see more of your racing soon in this tier. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right then, so I don't think, like we said, we have Lenny Papinta wanting to be interviewed this evening, so we're going to round up the stream now, and wow, what a race it has been as well. We thought there wasn't going to be overtakes, but there was overtakes galore from some drivers as well. There were some quiet moments of the race, but the moments where there were overtakes, it was absolutely spectacular, and I can't wait to Canada in just under 2 weeks' time. And Josh, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
It was an absolutely fantastic race. Hopefully I can maybe be in the commentary box for these kind of races in more occasion, but I'll definitely be looking to do some more in the future. But it was an absolutely fantastic race. Cannot wait for 2 weeks. I will be watching at Canada, but it was an absolute pleasure to be alongside you today, Jess, but cannot wait for Canada with you and Luke, hopefully. But it's been an absolutely fantastic race, and we're all on the next one.
Yes, and we've still got more Dutch Grand Prix races still to come. We've obviously had the Tier 1 race as well, so if you missed that, make sure you check that out after this stream. We have also got Xbox Tier 1, which is happening tomorrow night, 8 PM UK time on the WR channel, so make sure you give that a listen as well. It's got some really top quality Xbox drivers, so have a listen. We also got the other Xbox tiers going on throughout the week on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. We've obviously got PC Tier 3 and PC Tier 5 happening this week, and we've got PS Tier 1 on Friday night at 8 PM before we start our break week after that. So like George said, it's been a pleasure covering you through the action this evening. Luke will be back in a couple of weeks time as well, and like we said earlier, Downfield, if you are watching, get better soon. Hopefully you'll be in Tier 1 commentary in a couple of weeks time, and hope you all had a good evening so far, and we will see you in 2 weeks time for the Canadian Grand Prix. Have a nice break week, everybody, and we will catch you with the next one. Goodbye.
On his debut, Jarno Opmeer wins at Spa.
It's Martinez in Montreal. David beats Goliath.
It's a true underdog story. John Evans wins at Mexico.
And it's Super Sam Corby who takes the PlayStation Championship.
FRA Ronhard takes his first WOR championship. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jake Benham is a two-time WOR champion.
Stop it! Around the outside operating line. Shadow is contact to get Rodha is around.
Melanie, surely is going to win here at Abu Dhabi. He does!
15 races across 5 continents. From Brazil to Belgium and Bahrain to Britain. Soon this story starts. Across 3 platforms, hundreds will begin the quest. The quest in search of glory and the right to be called a WOR champion. Lights out, and we're racing in Season 12.